Your credit score is the key to unlocking your financial future. In fact, if you know the components of how it's made, you're going to make better decisions and avoid costly mistakes. In this video, I'm going to go over the key 5 components of your credit score so you can be in the know and on your way to a better financial future. Do you ever feel like your credit score is a mystery? Like it drops even when you make a credit payment on time? Like if you're frustrated, you definitely want to keep tuning in because I'm going to unlock the exact reasons and components of your score that you need to know. The credit score is a 3-digit number and it reflects how responsible you are to creditors like cars, credit cards, mortgages, etc. The better your score, the better your terms or the less your deposit or, the better your interest rate is going to be in most cases. Most scores, like 90% of the scores that are used, are based on the FICO score model. Now, I'm going to talk to you about what FICO is, but the average range of FICO scores in most of the models are 350 to 850. But how exactly are they made? Let's break it down. I'm getting this information from myfico.com, which in my opinion is the most trusted source, at least for mortgages. So I've been doing mortgages for a few decades. MyFICO is the closest score that resembles what mortgagers pull. Now, there's over 35 models of credit. So what I'm going to be talking to you about today is the actual mortgage credit scoring system so that you can understand. What are the components of your score? The number 1 and number 2 factor of your score are actually tied at 35% each, and that is delinquencies, that would be late payments, collections, etc., and percent utilization on those credit cards. So when we're looking to boost someone's credit, the percent utilization of your credit cards is such a high percent of your score. That's the fastest way to boost your credit. If you can keep your balances anywhere from 10 to 30% of the high credit that you're allowed on each individual card, your score will start to come up. Now, in third place in the credit scoring model is the length of time accounts have been opened. So anytime you get a new account, anything less than 12 months, did you know that your score takes a little bit of a dip backwards? The reason is that you've got to prove yourself again that you're paying on time. Now, you're probably asking, what about all the years I've had credit and I've paid everything on time? That may be the case. However, what if your habits changed? Things change all the time. People go in and out of having financial trouble. So if you get multiple new accounts in a short period of time, like 2 or 3 new accounts, that's going to start to lower your score because that's going to signal to the bureau, whether it's true or not, that you're scrambling for money and you need more credit to pay your bills. The next part of your score is credit inquiries. Now, this is the number 1 thing that everybody's worried about the score. And did you know that it's actually one of the lowest components of your score? Now, not to say you shouldn't be worried about inquiries. However, it's 10% of your score. Actually, hard credit inquiries, if you're not doing a ton at one time of different industries, like you're trying to get a car, at the same time you're getting 20% discount at the store over the weekend, and at the same time you're getting a mortgage. So if you have inquiries in different industries, that's signaling again to the bureau that, hey, something is going on and your score is going to drop a little bit, but it's not going to be like a drastic drop like it would on the other components that we talked about before. But just to let you know, inquiries are 10% of your score. Now, as a side note, you want to watch my video, I'll put it down in the description, about how credit inquiries, hard or soft, affect your credit score. So make sure you check it out. The last one, 10% of your score, is actually credit mix. Now, did you know that the best mix of credit is an installment type debt, like a car, a mortgage, a student loan, where you've got a required exact payment every month? It's the same payment every month, $250, $250, $250. So an installment debt together with a revolving debt. So revolving debt, I hear it every day. People say, oh, I don't want any credit cards. Now, if you know how to use them properly, it's not to be afraid. It actually gives you the most boost on your score because it shows the responsibility that you can charge and pay off. Even if you carry a small balance, you don't have to carry a balance to get good credit. You just need to charge a little bit, like 10 to 30%, not a lot. Don't max it out, to spark your score. Just think of it as a little gasoline on a fire to just fuel that spark, okay? If you don't have that, we actually see clients in the mortgage scoring. We see clients that actually have lower scores because they don't have any revolving credit. So 1 to 2 credit cards is all you need. You don't need a bunch. In fact, it hurts if you have too many. And so the credit mix is an important part of your score. And installment debt together with a credit card is like credit mecca for the scoring system. So the number one mistake and causes the most harm to your credit the fastest is anything becoming late. So you want to make sure to stay on top of those payments, y'all. If you pay 30 days late, let's say your due date on your credit card is the 6th. They always have these weird due dates. Let's say it's on the 6th. If you pay the next month, if you don't pay by the 5th of the next month, 30 days later, they will report you late. Now, paying a few days late is okay, but not really, because they're going to charge a late fee. And then that late fee is going to tack on and affect your next payment. So if you don't recognize the late fee and you don't pay it because you didn't know it existed, it's going to cause this train wreck of behind past due payments. So don't pay late. Pay on the 6th, the minimum payment, and then a few days later you can sweep in and pay extra if you want to. But if it was me, I would set my credit cards to auto pay if at all possible. You've got to be really diligent on this, y'all. And if for some reason, I understand that hardships happen, if you can't pay and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm strapped, I need to pay around 30 days late. Just remember, it usually takes like 2 business days. I don't think Sundays include. Usually takes a couple days for your auto payment to credit the account. So don't think you can pay it today and automatically it's going to show on your account tomorrow. I would leave a pad. So when you're calculating, I'd try to pay by like the 26th day from the due date so it doesn't bump up against the 30 days. So I hope you're finding this useful. I know it's a lot of detail, but I really want y'all to have better credit. And I think some of these things y'all just might not know. So leave me a comment. I want to hear your questions. I've got just a little bit more info for you so that you can have the best credit score possible. The best hack I can give you that you can control today is how you use these credit cards. So percent utilization is vital. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That doesn't apply to me. I pay my credit cards off every single month. Well, that might be true, but it does still affect you because I'm going to teach you how so that you can know exactly, so it can boost your score the most. Did you know that the date that your statement cuts off, whatever that balance is on that statement date, is what gets reported to the bureaus? So let's say that your statement cuts off on the 6th. That day, whatever the balance is what is reported to the bureaus a few days later. Now, my statement cuts off on the 6th, and then it's due 3 weeks later usually. Like it's usually due like on the 9th, like some weird date, okay? So just make sure that you pay it on time. You can pay it in full. You can pay a payment. Whatever you pay, just pay it on time. But remember, the date that it cuts off, that's the percent utilization that's going to be reporting. So if your limit is 5,000 and let's say your statement cuts off and it's 4,500. Let's say you had some big expenditures, bought some plane tickets, or it was Christmas or whatever. And you're thinking, oh, I pay it in full every month, so it's not going to hurt me. Well, it could, because how does the creditor know that next month you're going to pay it in full? That might have been your habit. But what if your habits change because you're having some financial difficulty? Does that make sense? So when your statement cuts off, it's going to report that. You don't pay it until weeks later. Now, one important thing, do not rush in unless you're not at 30% utilization. A mistake that people make is they rush in before their statement cuts off and they pay everything to zero. Don't do that, because if your credit card reports at zero, there's nothing to report. There's no gas on the fire. There's no spark. So be careful. Again, I'm so sorry for all the detail, y'all, but this is like the number one secret that you'll never find on the internet, like ever. Like you'll never find this. I know this painfully because every year I pull like 1,000 credit reports, okay? Like a lot. So much credit, my eyeballs are like spitting out of my head, okay? Like this. So take my advice. Concentrate on the percent utilization. Your score will start to go up if you really concentrate on those credit cards. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Good luck on the credit boosting. Let me hear your comments, and I'll see you around.